हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू अनदर वीडियो ऑफ स्पार्क सीरीज। आज की वीडियो हम लोग देखेंगे हाउ टू इंस्टॉल स्पार्क इन द मैक ओएस एंड ऑल्सो हाउ टू डू द स्पार्क सेटअप इन द पाईचार्म इन द मैक ओएस। सेकेंड थिंग्स, हम लोग ये भी देखेंगे कि जब हम लोग लोकल सिस्टम में या अपने डेस्कटॉप पे स्पार्क रन करते हैं जहाँ पे क्लस्टर नहीं होती है, तो वहाँ पे स्पार्क आर्किटेक्चर कैसे काम करता है और क्या क्या कॉन्फ़िगरेशन हम लोग रखते हैं। तो वीडियो को शुरू करते हैं। अगर आप मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किए तो प्लीज़ चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, मुझे काफ़ी मदद मिलती है, और वीडियो को लाइक और शेयर जरूर करें। नाउ वन द थिंग विच आई वांट टू मेंशन इज dot master local 2. Okay, when you run your program in your local machine, I am running the program in my local machine. So this is a local, I'm not my resource, or you can tell the cluster manager. I don't have a cluster manager. So my cluster manager in my case, in this case, is local, or the Spark itself. And the local cluster manager, you have to use, or you don't have a cluster. So how you will bring the parallelism in this case? So when you are running the Spark in your local system, so the parallelism is getting simulated with the multi-threading. So when you write local in bracket 2, that means 2 thread is running. When you write local and 3, that means 3 thread is running. So in my case, local 2 is running. So you don't give the bigger number in the local, because if you have less level of CPU, then your system will get stuck and it will be in the queue. So give 1 or 2 or maximum till 3. So in my case, it can support till 3 to 4, but I've given 2. That means 2 thread is running. If I don't give this number, that means by default 1 thread will come run. That means local 1 will run. And when you run in a local 1, if you give 1 thread, that means your driver will only be initiated. There will be no executor. Now the question is, if there will be no executor, then how the task will run if I do local 1? So in local 1, the driver itself will act as a driver and the executor both. So driver will try to complete all your work, and it will be also the master of the application itself. So there will be single JVM in which there will be a driver, and that will do the work. When you write it here local 2, in this case you will have 2 thread. Multi-threading system, you will have 2 thread. One is for the driver and one is for the executor. So this is how it runs when you are using the cluster manager as local, or cluster manager as by default Spark cluster manager. We are not using yarn, we don't have a cluster, we have a single machine, and this is how Spark behaves. Now there are one more things, like what happens when we deploy the program in different mode. Like there are two deployment mode available. The first is client mode, and the second is, I'll write it here itself as a comment. The first is client mode. Okay. This is the ID. So, and the second is cluster mode. Okay. Now, what happens in client mode when you submit the program in the client mode? Now, in that case, your driver will be inside your machine itself. For example, from your machine, you are trying to connect to some cluster and running the Spark in a client mode. So your driver will be in your machine, and client mode is used for just testing purpose, for short job, for testing the use cases, not for actual production or any test environment job. So cluster mode is used when you are working in an actual cluster. So in actual cluster, your master will not be a local, your master will be Yarn or Mesos, whichever is the cluster manager. So in that case, your Spark will work what we have explained in the previous video. Like your driver will be in one of the node of a cluster, and your other executor will be working in some of the node of the cluster. So in client mode is used for small purpose, for use case. What I am running now is a client mode. What you are running in a Spark cell, when I'm doing a Spark cell or PySpark in my command terminal, that is a client mode. When I'm running in an environment, when I'm doing the submit, that is a cluster mode. Now overall, what we have now is, I can run. So overall now what we have is, I'm writing in this thing, so it is getting a little bit weird, but let's try to just, we need to just look into the concepts, nothing more. So when I am running in local as a master, so that is in the client mode, and that can be done with the help of ID, like this is the PyCharm IDE or the notebook, Jupyter notebook, or in the Databricks notebook if you are running, but Databricks there is a cluster. So I'm talking about the Jupyter notebook or some IDE. When you are running in a yarn mode, so yarn mode you can run in a client also. In that case, for example, you are running the cell. If you are in a cluster, you have the actual cluster, but you have opened a Spark cell. In that case, you are using the master as yarn, but it is running in a client mode. With the help of notebook also you can do the same thing. When you have a cluster and you are running in a yarn mode, that means that is actually Spark Summit. What we are doing when you are writing the Spark Summit, you will give the deployment mode as cluster, and your master will be yarn. So this thing you need to know, like when to use which kind of mode in company. When you are running in a production test environment, QA environment, you are going to do the Spark Summit by writing the command Spark Summit, or by using some web-based environment or some third-party tool. Like in Databricks, you just need to click the run command. You are not writing the Spark Summit, but behind the scene, the Spark Summit gets executed. When you are running in your local machine, like how I've done the setup in my local machine, in this case I will be running in a master as a local, and this is the client mode. So this is good setup for running your testing of your Spark. You are running your logic, or just for your study purpose, learning purpose. I hope you have understood most of the things in this video. If you have any doubt, please put it in the comment. I will try to answer it. नेक्स्ट वीडियो में मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि इसको विंडोज में मैं सेटअप कर दूं. आई विल गेट सम विंडोज लैपटॉप फ्रॉम समवेयर, एंड देन आई विल ट्राई टू डू द सेटअप, एंड देन विल प्रोसीड विद अनदर कॉन्सेप्ट. किसी भी तरह का डाउट है तो प्लीज़ कमेंट में करें. मैं हमेशा बोल रहा हूँ और मैं बार बार बोलता हूँ कि जब तक आप डाउट क्लियर नहीं करेंगे, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू मूव टू द नेक्स्ट सेशन. क्योंकि नेक्स्ट सेशन जो होने वाली है विल बी मोर लॉजिकल, मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स, एंड वी विल गो इन टू मोर डिटेल ऑफ दिस पार्क. तब तक के लिए अपना ख्याल रखिए. टेक केयर एंड गुड बाय एंड हैप्पी लर्निंग. सो स्पार्क इंस्टॉल करने के पहले हमें कुछ कुछ चीज़ हमारे सिस्टम में रहनी चाहिए. जैसे जावा, फॉर एग्जांपल मैं मैक में इंस्टॉल कर रहा हूँ. अब मैक ओएस किसी में भी इंस्टॉल करें, जावा रहना चाहिए और जेडीके वर्जन 8 और 11 रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि स्पार्क हैज़ बीन टेस्टेड ऑन जेडीके 8 एंड 11. इसके अलावा दूसरे जेडीके में भी स्पार्क इंस्टॉल हो सकती है, मैं मना नहीं कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन वहाँ पे किस तरह से परफॉर्म करेगी, उसके स्पार्क के सारे फीचर्स काम करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे, दैट इज़ नॉट श्योर, वो डॉक्यूमेंटेड नहीं है. बट स्पार्क 8 और 11 में ये टेस्टेड है और इसमें सही से काम करती है. So in this video we will do the setup with the Spark 11. I have already done the setup, लेकिन मैं सारे स्टेप्स आपको दिखाने वाला हूँ, बताने वाला हूँ. तो सबसे पहले आपको जावा चाहिए. आप जावा वर्जन ऐसे चेक कर सकते हैं. आप यहाँ पे कमांड लिखिए जावा हाइफन वर्जन. You will see that I already have a open JDK 11.0.27. So I have the JDK 11. So if you don't have any Java version, or if you have the any other Java version, then you need to uninstall that. Or if you don't have any Java version, JDK version, you need to install it. So for installing Java, you can use the brew command line installer of the macOS. So you can write brew install Java 11. So it will install the Java 11 packages, and by default the path of this, like in my case, the path is homebrew, and this is the path. It goes to, I'll tell you, OpenJDK 11. Okay. So if you see here, I have 11.0. So generally it gets installed into this path, but you can check in some of the machine where your homebrew is installed in some other directories, you will have the JDK, OpenJDK installed in some other directory. So that can be checked with the normal command. You can Google that command. It's very simple to check the path. But you need to install the JDK. When your JDK is installed, and you have to put the export file, means you have to put Java home. For example, my Java is installed in this directory. So if I check my Java home, echo dollar Java home, so this is pointing to this directory. So this is pointing to this directory. So you need to first install Java version 11, JDK 11, and then set the variable Java home. So you can set this variable with the same command how you use in the Linux. You can write Java export Java home, and then you can give the path of your JDK. So this is similar to how you do in Windows when you do the environmental variable setup. So and this command, export command, need to also be present in your startup or the startup script. When your machine gets startup, when your terminal gets startup, there is a startup script that runs some of the command which you have put in there. So how can you identify the startup script? When you see the hidden file, so I can see that in my case it's dot z script or z cell. In your case it can be something different. You can have the cell, normal bash cell. So if you're using Linux, so obviously there will be a bash cell. So in my case it's z cell. So I'll just open this file. Yeah, this is RC. So you can see that I have already put it here, export Java home. So every time you don't need to run the path Java home, or don't need to set this path every time when the system starts. So this can be, if you put it in the script, this script, startup script, so your Java home will automatically get set up. So you have now Java install and Java home setup. Fine. Now you can again recheck the Java version with the help of Java hyphen version. The second thing, we need the Spark binaries. So I recommend to go for the latest version of the Spark. So you can go to Spark, Spark org, Spark Apache org. Go to the download. You can see that this is the latest version. Download Spark. Click on this, and this is the downloading link. When you click on this, your download will happen. So I already have the downloaded tar file. So when you have the tar file, like I have removed the tar file now, but you will have the tar file in your directory, and then it will be present in your download directory tar file. So just untar that content and then move into do some other directory. For example, I have put it in the Spark directory. So मैंने Spark directory में जो downloaded version है Hadoop के Spark के, so उस मैंने वहाँ पे ऐड किया है. जैसे when you will untar, you will get this directory Spark 3.5.0 bin Hadoop 3. So if you go into this untar version, so you will see all the binaries of the Spark already been there. So you need to download from the Spark website, untar it, unzip it, anything. Like if you are downloading the untar file, untar it, put it into some directory where you want to put your installation file. Then note down that path, and then you need to set one variable which is called Spark home. So this path is set up because this is the path where I have, this is my home directory, user home, my home, and here I have created a Spark 3 directory, and I have put the Spark binaries here which I have downloaded, and which I have done the untar. This export command you need to again put it in the startup script or JS script, depending on your system which is the startup script. So you have the both the directory already been, both the variable already been set up, Java home, and you can also see Spark home. Now by with these two component you will be able to start the Spark. So Spark by default it runs with the Scala programming language. So you can write it here Spark hyphen cell. So Spark will start up on the local machine, and the version of Spark is 3.5.5. Scala is 2.12.18. Now and Java JDK is my 11. Now here I'll quit from here. Now for the Python, for running the PySpark, you need to have the Python installed in your system. In my system, I already have a Python. It's very easy. You can directly, with the brew command itself, you can install Python 3. So any of the latest version of the Python you can install, and you need to set the variable of the PySpark. So in my case, PySpark underscore home or PySpark underscore Python, you need to set this variable. So I have set this variable as Python 3. Python 3 is a command which is already in my path. So if you don't have Python 3 in the path, you need to put this full path here. So basically you need to set this variable, and then this variable export of this should also be added to the startup script. I'll show you the complete startup script now, and the path also. Like this is my path variable. So it's not necessary that you're all the path like Spark home or Java home PySpark, Python, everything will not be in your Spark home or path variable. So you need to also update the path and put it in the startup script. I'll show you finally how your startup script will look. So you will have these all things. Java home you have written here, Spark home you have written here, PySpark Python you have written here, and in the path I have added dollar path Spark home. So you need to, because Java, when you have installed Java, when you have installed the Python, that will be added into the path automatically. And so you are able to run the Java version, you are able to run the Python program. For the Spark home, you need to write it separately in the path variable. So this new path variable has been set up. So these all things should be in the script, in the startup script. If you don't add this thing in the startup script, then every time when you restart the machine, you have to set this path. You have to write the export and set this variable for this path. I hope this is clear. If any doubt you are facing, any issue you are facing, just put it in the comment. I will try to answer it, and also put the screenshot if possible in the comment or in the mail so that I can look into it in more details. So my Spark cell is working. So for PySpark, I'll run PySpark command. So it will start with Python. I have 3.12.7 Python. I have another version of Python also, but it's running on T2 3.12 because that has been set up in the path. So and the same version of the PySpark 3.5.5, but it is because it is pointing to the Spark which we have downloaded. Okay. Now, now you have the Spark in your local machine. Now you have to do the setup of PyCharm. So it's very easy. So once you have all these both this thing like Java, Spark, and Python already in your system, you can directly go into the PySpark Community Edition. So I'll tell you how to download it. So you can go to this link for the PyCharm download, and you can, like in my case, it's Apple Silicon CPU. So you can click on this, it will get downloaded. Don't register into any of the PyCharm UI. Just when you download the PyCharm UI, just install it. And when it will ask for any authentication key or any kind of payment, just click on the free version. There will be option to click on the free version, and then you will be able to run the community edition of the PyCharm. So this is my PyCharm. So how to do the project setup? So I'll tell you. So if I want to do the new project, so this will be the case when you are starting the project. So you can put the directory of your project. So this is the directory of your project. Now here by default it will be in the project environment. You can directly go into the custom environment. Your environment will be new and virtual environment we are trying to put, because this will be very easy to set up. There are multiple Conda environment, other environment, but just go with the virtual environment. So you can, if you have multiple version of Python already installed, you can install it. I have 3.12.7 also, but I'll go with 3.13. This is a location of the virtual environment where your script will be there, and you don't need to put it or don't need to click on anything. Just create it. So because I already have the project, it will ask me like you want to replace it or you want to overwrite it. So what I will do, I'll just cancel this one. So once you get in the project, this structure will be created. So right click on this and create the Python file. Okay. So for example, I have created demo program file. Now I need to check that my Python, PySpark, everything is working. So, and one thing more before that, I forgot to tell that you need to ensure that in your PyCharm, the PySpark component or PySpark library is already installed. So for that, you need to click on this, and you will see here manage package. When you click on this, you can see that installed one found, PySpark is already installed. Okay, PySpark is already installed. If it is not installed, click on just search the PySpark. You will get one PySpark package here, and there will be a button for install. So my PySpark is already installed 3.5.5. So I'm getting an option to uninstall, but you will get an option to install if you don't have this libraries packages in your PyCharm. So you first you need to install it and then go into this one demo file, any kind of startup file. So if you see, like if I write it again, so if it will get installed, then it will be auto complete will come. Otherwise, the auto complete will also not come. It will not understand that thing. So what I have done, I have Spark SQL. I've imported one. This I was just checking like my Python is working or not. We don't require this as of now. So don't worry about writing the code. We will see like how this code is written, what is the meaning of each of the line. But we are just testing like our Python or PySparks has been set up properly in my PyCharm or not. So I'm just writing application name hello Spark. Okay, spelling of the hello is wrong. So I'm using master local 2. This is important. I will discuss this because in the last session I have discussed that when you do the Spark Summit, how the Spark internally works, the architecture works as an overview. Here we are going to see that when you run this Spark in the local machine, then how the Spark internally look into it and work on it. So I have some demo data. I've created an array of data, list of data, and that data is being converted into data frame. So I'll just simply run this program, and that output you will see it here as a data frame. Okay. So I have given this schema city and temperature. This is city and temperature, average temperature.